Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. We are here with another topic. Today's topic is an essay from Pakistani literature. It is an essay by Intizar Hussain, The Problem of Pakistani Identity and Writers. Now this essay is a very interesting essay. Interesting in a sort that it poses certain questions that are very peculiar to every Pakistani writer and a common Pakistani being. This essay asks the simple question and a tricky questions of what our actual identity is. What is the identity of a Pakistani literature? It tries to answer from different dimensions by quoting different writers and different literary masters. And at the same time, Intizar Hussain has tried to develop his own narrative. What actually he talks about in this essay, how he develops his argument, and is he able to conclude his essay with a positive or with a concrete note or not? We'll discuss all these aspects today. Intizar Hussain starts his essay with a very bold statement. Bold in a sense that he says it has almost been 50 years of independence, but the writers who belong to Pakistani region are still facing identity crisis, are still in the dilemma of whether their identity is Pakistani or subcontinent or any other identity. So when he starts this essay, he supplements this argument that this is because on the other side of the border, like in India, there is no concept of the problem of identity for the writers, because they don't face this problem, whether they belong to India, whether their identity is subcontinental identity or Indian identity or whatever it is. But this problem is very much peculiar to all the Pakistani writers who either write in Urdu or in English. Now he says why this problem has emerged. What was the basic cause of emergence of this problem? He says that when Pakistan got independence from that subcontinent or from British, so some of the writers were of the opinion that the partition was not good. Like we should have been together with the Indians as we have been living for centuries. While another group of the writers, they opted for a separate nation, for a separate state, for a separate country. Now those who opted for supported the idea of a separate nation, they thought that their literature is all so different from that of the Indian literature. So they named it as Pakistani Adab or Pakistani literature. Now, when this happens, again, some of the writers go into a problem that what actually is Pakistani literature? How is it different from the literature of India? How this literature is peculiar to Indian literature, or what are the differences? So Intizar Hussain quotes here that Faiz Ahmad Faiz is of the opinion that our identity, our literature is basically the literature that is based in our distinctive culture. Now when he states this, it gives so many questions, or it gives rise to so many different questions. What are those questions? Intizar Hussain asks them. Intizar Hussain asks, if we are a new nation that is born after 1947, so what is our identity? Whether this identity is a Pakistani identity? If it is a Pakistani identity, then why are we of the opinion that Indian or our custom and rituals have got developed with living together with Indians or with Hindus? So it means we are posing, or we are striking a question on our Pakistani identity that has been born after 1947. If this is not the case, so we claim that our identity is based in Islam, means it is an Islamic identity. So if it is an Islamic identity, it means that we trace back to Muhammad bin Qasim and the arrivals of Muslims in the subcontinent. So if our identity is Islamic identity, why we struggled for a separate nation? Because from 1712 till 1857 we were living together with Hindus. We were having so many things in common. So if this was the case, why we opted for a separate nation? Okay, fine. If this is not the case, so we think that our identity is identity that is based in cultures or distinctive culture, as Faz puts it. Now again there is a question, like Pakistan has got different provinces, 4 provinces, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab, Sindh and Balochistan, and every province has got its own distinctive culture. The culture of Pakhtuns is different from that of culture of Punjab. So all those 4 provinces have got different cultures. Then if all of the 4 provinces have got different cultures, then what is the national culture of Pakistan? Because 4 of the provinces have nothing in common with the others. So if they all do not have any binding force that can tie them together, then what is a Pakistani culture? And if again we claim that we have got a distinctive culture and the literature is Pakistani literature, then why we ask or why we claim the relics of India, means Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, because they are not Muslim, they do not belong to Muslim civilizations. So Intizar Hussain puts it that we have got this problem. We neither belong to Islamic history. Why? Because we think that we are a newborn nation. If we are a newborn nation, then where is our past history that belongs to Muslim civilization? And if we say that we are a newborn nation, then it means that our culture and our identity is very much different from that of Islam. But still we say that Pakistan has been made in the name of Islam. So Intizar Hussain tries to cover all those aspects, that what actual identity is for a Pakistani writer. And nobody is able to answer that. Why? Because some of the writers have opted that our national culture is our identity. Some are of the opinion that Pakistani culture on a broader spectrum, that is our national identity. Some believe that Islam is our national identity, but meager of them or rare people follow it. So this is what Intizar Hussain has been trying to expose, or has been trying to answer in so many different things. Now, this is the whole crux of the whole essay. Analyze it. We are Muslims, fine. So it means we trace back to Muhammad and the arrival of Muhammad bin Qasim. So through that lineage or through that bridge, we go back to that. So our identity is somewhere in Islam. What Intizar Hussain misses in this essay, this is a critical point, that he does not talk about Iqbal. Why? Because Iqbal has been talking about Muslim identity. He believes, and this is the opinion of Iqbal, that we opted for a separate state because we were not able to live together with Hindus. Now, a person can ask a question. We have been living together for 1,000 years, but the scenario was different. We were the rulers and Indians or Hindus were the subjects, or they were not dominant force. So we could do whatever we wanted to do in terms of our religion. I'm not talking about in terms of society. In terms of our religious practices, we could follow it. Now, when Britishers came, so we both got on the equal plan, means Hindu and Muslim, and then later on Hindus got the upper edge. So when they got the upper edge, Muslims got dominated, and Muslims could not go and preach and teach their own religion. So that is why we had to opt for a separate nation. This is what Iqbal is of the opinion, that Muslims and Indians could not go together. Why? Because they both are having common things, means they both have got commonalities in cultures, but they both have different beliefs and different ideals. So this is what Intizar Hussain misses in his essay. He does not talk about La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He does not talk about that our identity is basically deeply rooted in what? Is deeply rooted in Islam. And why we are having this problem? Because we are moving away, further away, and then further away from our Islamic identity. Like there's a very famous ghazal that has been sung by Tina Sani in Kong Studio. The title is Nawai Na. In Nawai Na, the poet has tried to answer that this flute has got a rhythmical voice, sweet voice and melodious voice. Why? Because it has got the pain. The pain is that it has been extracted and it has been on the distance from the roots. This is the case with Muslims. Muslims are going away from their identity, from the root identity of Islam and La Ilah, and that is why they are having this problem. That is why they are having the problem of identity. So whenever we have to go back to identity, whenever we have to discuss this problem of identity, we need to focus on one thing, and that is our identity straight and directly goes back to Islamic identity. If there is no Islam, there is nothing of our culture, and that is what Intizar Hussain has tried to conclude in his essay by quoting Eliot when he says that if Christianity goes, culture goes. It is the same case with Muslims. If Islam goes, the whole culture goes, the whole identity goes. So for Muslims, for everyone who lives in Pakistan, whenever he tries to talk about identity, he needs to refer to Islam, because our identity is deeply rooted in Islam. I hope the concept has got very much clear. If there is any question, you can ask in the comment box, you can relate it in the comment box, or if there is any dimension that has not been touched in this essay, you can help me out in it. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.